everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's Rochelle from Monteash. Today we are going to talk about Maybe Now by Colleen Hoover. I just have to talk about this right away because I cannot wait until the end of the month to talk about this. It has to be now when my feelings and my thoughts are still fresh. So we're gonna talk about this. Of course, I don't know if you mind if I talk about this. If you haven't read Maybe Someday, I suggest you read Maybe Someday and then read this book and then come back to this video so we can talk about it. Well, I'll share my opinion and then you can reply in the comments down below. I give this book a 5 out of 5 stars because it's just really good. I don't know if Colleen Hoover ever disappointed me. I think there's like one book that I rated 4 stars, but the other books by Colleen Hoover, I rated them 5 out of 5 stars, including this one. So before I talk about Maybe Now, I'm just gonna talk a little bit about Maybe Someday for those who haven't read it. So Maybe Someday is about the two first main characters of this series, Ridge and Sydney. Ridge and Sydney develops a kind of forbidden relationship in Maybe Someday, and then now this book is about the ex-girlfriend of one of the characters in Maybe Someday. Now Ridge and Sydney are still part of this book, but they also include the other character, the ex, and another male character. Okay, so basically in this book there are 4 different points of views, and it's so well written that you know who is talking. You don't get confused at all, even though there's like two female points of views and 2 male points of views. You don't get confused. There's a new character here, which is the male character, the love interest of the ex-girl. That is just my favorite character in this book. Freaking Jake. Okay, so Jake is... I wanted more from him. Like every single scene of Jake and Maggie, I just devour it in just a few minutes. I can't put the book down when it's about them. They're just that good. Now in Maybe Someday, I remember feeling so bad for Maggie for what happened to her, seeing her long-term boyfriend cheat on her with another girl, Sydney. But then in this book, the book starts with her wanting to skydive, and right from the first chapter, we meet Jake, and you instantly fall in love with this guy. You would think that because I read so many romance that those, cheesy parts won't affect me anymore. I'll just find them, really cheesy. I'm gonna roll my eyes and so on. But I don't know how Colleen does it. I just fell in love with Jake's character right away, and I wanted to keep reading, and it wasn't cheesy at all. I just enjoyed every single thing, every single moment. And like when Maggie keeps rejecting him, I wasn't even mad. I understood why she did what she did, and I understood why she kept pushing him away. But I'm so used to male characters like chasing after the woman. Even though the woman keeps saying no to them, they would keep chasing, and then eventually they convince the female character. But in this one, we haven't heard from Jake for several chapters. It was just focused on Ridge and Sydney, and then Maggie from time to time. But like we see Jake at the beginning, and then we don't see him until the end of the book. And I was like, wow, this male character is not like forcing himself into Maggie's life. And I'm just like, oh my god, that just makes you want him more. Just that makes you want to read about him more. And I wish there was more. with a new setting. It's a new day. I just had to stop filming in the other clip because something came up, but I'm back to talk about Maybe Now. What I really enjoy a lot is Maggie's and Jake's point of view. They're the most interesting part. It started with Maggie's point of view, and I just couldn't stop reading after that. And whenever we go back to Sydney and Ridge's point of view, I didn't mind reading it, but I always look forward to reading Maggie's and Jake's, and unfortunately there are only a few chapters on them. The majority of this book is Sydney and Ridge's point of views. So that's the thing that disappointed me the most, because I really thought that this was gonna focus on Maggie's story. To be honest, I read Maybe Someday a few years ago, and I remember back then I really enjoyed it. And then a few years after, I noticed that the cheating aspect was problematic. But then again, you have to put yourself in the character's position, and what would you do if you were them? When you like someone and you spend a lot of time with that person, that attraction that you have, it's really hard to ignore, no matter how hard you try. Now, you might disagree with me, but it's just, I don't know, from my experience, I'm not saying I cheated, it's just I'm trying to really put myself in that person's situation, and I think about what love or what that attraction can do to you. Sometimes you lose control of your emotions, and you let yourself, I don't know, kiss this person or fall in love with this person, and then you realize after that, oh my gosh, you did something terrible. So yeah, that's how I see it. That's why I'm not really hating on the book because of that aspect. I don't like cheating. I don't like seeing people cheat on others. I'm not saying that I'm pro cheating and I support cheating. No, I'm not saying that. I'm just trying to be understanding towards the situation in Maybe Someday, instead of judging and then hating on the book just like that. Back to the book. So what I really like about, as I mentioned before, what I really like about Jake, the character, is he wasn't pushing or he wasn't forcing Maggie to do things. And I really like Maggie as well, because she really held her ground and she knows what she wants in her life. She can't handle a relationship right now, so she is not afraid to say no. Even though it's really hard for her, she says no, and she rejects Jake. So that's what I really like, because a lot of romance, the female character knows that she's not supposed to fall in love with this guy or start a relationship with this guy, but because the male character is hot and attractive, they just let themselves fall in love, and they start a relationship and it becomes cheesy and all that. That's not what I like to read anymore. So I really appreciate that Maggie didn't change her mind at the beginning. She really said no, she can't be in this relationship, and she focused on herself. I find myself skipping Sydney and Ridge's point of view, or just skipping the last few chapters on Ridge and Sydney's point of view, because I was just not interested in that anymore. I'm more interested in Maggie and Jake. In terms of the other two secondary characters, Bridget and Warren, I really like them, though I haven't read their story. Maybe not. Yeah, I haven't read that, so I'm not really invested in their relationship, but I find them quite entertaining and funny. So yeah, overall I really enjoyed the book. I read it in 2 days, and just I like reading books that makes it hard for me to put it away or put it down. it feels good as well because I've been in a reading slump, and it's good to finally read and finish a book. I'm going to read another romance book soon before I try to read Wuthering Heights again. But that will be it for this video. If you've read maybe someday or maybe now, please share your thoughts about it down below, or if you have anything to say about what I said in this video, feel free to just comment in the comment section. I want to know your thoughts and maybe we can have a discussion. But please remain respectful in the comments. That's all for this video. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you in my next one.